We're live.
We are. Another
Welcome.
Monday night.
It's starting to feel like spring in Wisconsin, Ryan.
For one day.
Yeah. Is it supposed to get cold again? I haven't looked at the
Yes, we're
forecast.
supposed to get more snow this weekend.
For real?
For real.
How much snow?
Well, it's early, so you never know.
Oh, man.
So it could be like 3 inches, could be a foot. We don't know.
Welcome to Let's Grow Polling Live, guys, with the Beer Money Polling Team. My name is Jason Schultz. I got Ryan Zolik. What are you? You're our engineer. We got to give you a fancy name, because I pay you so much to help out. You know what I mean? So don't forget your water. I don't want your chops to get.
No, I won't.
You're good?
Yeah,
So.
I'm good.
Anyway, welcome, everybody. You're what?
I'm a professional.
You're a professional here, yeah. It's Monday, March 6th. Kind of what are we, 2 months away from polling season? I mean, what do we got coming up? Keystone, we got Cornhusker Classic. I know Sturgis, Kentucky's having a poll coming up.
That's that I can think of for indoor polling here in the United States. And then we got NTPA has an actual hook in Virginia on the same day as Motorsports Mayhem.
Okay, so yeah, our event, Richland Center, Saturday, May 13th, Motorsports Mayhem, Demo Derby, Truck and Tractor Pull, Snowmobile Grass Drags, ATV Drags. What else we got going on today? Pedal Pull, the Dirt Bike Drags. It's going to be a great day.
Helicopter rides. Got bounce houses for the kids. We kind of do a little bit of everything. The Demo Derby is a big focus of that event. I think Matt and I put together 10 polling classes. A lot of general classes. We're not going to get real picky on rules for Motorsports Mayhem. It's a non-sanctioned event. It's a chance to get some stuff going there. There's my dog. Our tack dog.
We did talk about. I did get a call that Esden Lane is building a motor for a gentleman for a light limited superstock tractor. We have a light limited superstock tractor class. Now I need to call Esden, and Esden's willing to bring his tractor here. So what would it like be to have the Red Line Fever at Motorsports Mayhem, May 13th?
That would be incredible.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That would be
pretty cool. So if you're watching the show, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know. Let us know what the weather's like at your house. That's what we want to know.
We got Kenneth from Ohio.
Cool.
Tune in.
Who else we got?
Casey from Indiana.
Nice. Hey, we got some new sponsors too I want to talk about.
Yes.
So last Monday, Fair Valley Performance came on, and so I know everybody in Wisconsin, the Agent Orange, light limited superstock, Danny Fry. That's Dennis Fry, the Fair Valley Performance. So they have like two things going on in their shop. They kind of have the high performance side of things, and they're working on fire trucks and semi trucks and diesel trucks and a little bit of everything over there at Fair Valley Performance. And also, I talked to Mike Miller from the ITPA today. So we have Illini State Pullers sponsoring us, and as well as Illinois Tractor Pulling Association. So the
Big
words,
year for them.
So we have we're promoting two associations. It's our 50th year for the ITPA. We also have Hawthorne Tire on board. We got Joe Bush Ag Repair on board. Who else am I missing here? Oh, and then Ellsworth, the showdown in Kirktown. So we're promoting one poll so far, two associations, and looks like we got 3 businesses now. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
And what we're trying to do is grow their social media reach, thank them for their support, and they're giving us a little spending money here, Ryan, to kind of update the studio and give Brandon some gas money and just different things like that. But we need their help. And at the same time, we're trying to help them out as well. So.
Yeah, and I believe it. If you're down in the central and southern Illinois area for ITPA, they're looking for photos for their 50th for their 50th year. So if you have any stories,
there's gonna be a lot of 50s. Bowling Green just had their 50th.
Yep.
Louisville's 50th is next year. So,
Toma is a couple years away from their 50th. Norwalk actually just celebrated their 50th. Was it last year or a couple of years ago now?
So Poland, in a way, is turning a half a century old.
Yes,
if you think about it like that, from that standpoint. So
actually, sanctioning bodies and
and there's a lot of chatter right now on pulloff.com. Usually, I think pulloff.com is just a gossip message board for people that are afraid to say something to somebody's face. But there's I really like it when Dick Morgan posts on there, or Miles Krieger, or Eric Pruitt from the Polling Radio Network. You're starting to get some good things. Not everybody's going to agree on it. You know what I mean? So
Kathy Gallant says very windy in Jefferson.
Very windy in Jefferson. Yeah.
Or is that just coming from the Gallants?
Not Kathy. It'd be me. If I was down there, it'd be windier. Yeah. She'd pick on me a lot about that. We also have the Badger State spring meeting this Saturday. I think the tech starts at noon. The tech meeting starts at noon or at 10.
Sure.
And I think the meeting starts at noon or 1 o'clock. So what we do there is we talk about the spring schedule, or not the spring schedule. We talk about the polling schedule, new sponsors. That
information's on the BSTP online.
And I'll get all that up on the Facebook page and different things like that too. So it's where we get signed up for our season and things like that. So anyway, really excited about that. So 2 things going on to me right now. I've been beating the diesel truck drum hard because I just think diesel trucks are
I don't think there's enough family farms anymore, good or bad. I'm not going to get into that, but that takes away the chance for like a Nick Gallett's to grow up on a farm and drive just a farm tractor around the yard every single day. Do you know what I mean?
And most if they do, it's a little Kubota.
Right, and then they can't even relate to it as much. Okay, so but now I think that's why the diesel trucks is coming. But it seems like to me, the last year or two, I've really seen a resurgence in the mini rods. Don't you? With the mini rod pullers. Resurgence with the mini rod pullers?
Okay. For sure. No,
so,
like we just talked about right before we came on, a lot of the big names are getting into the mini rod.
Like Jim Shaindorf sold the, what was this, Radical Red Diesel Super.
Got Joe Eder, who has been in the Modified, but now has a mini himself.
Boyd's had the mini. I know Bruce and Tyler have 3 of them, so let's get Tyler on the phone. Does that sound good? Yeah. And we'll talk to him. He had the big win.
We better behave. Ange is watching.
Who is?
Ange.
Uh-oh.
So.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll be good. We'll be as good as we can. Yeah. How's that? Very, very. It is super windy everywhere.
I believe the wind's really supposed to pick up.
Why does Jason have a shirt on with sleeves? Because guys, it was a long day. I was in Stevens Point today for work and selling those home loans. But I want to thank all the pullers and the fans. I'm doing quite a few home loans for pullers and fans, so I appreciate it. So it's good to work with people you know and getting things done like that. So we're gonna call Tyler here. Get him on the phone.
Hello,
Tyler. How are you, buddy?
I'm pretty good. Yourself?
Good. Living the dream. So welcome to Let's Grow Pulling, live at the Beer Money Pulling Team Facebook page. So first of all, congratulations for stuffing the mini rod in the sand Saturday night down there in Eaton, Ohio.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So was that a finals, or how did that work? Did you qualify Friday night to pull Saturday night, or how did you do that?
No, they do some pulling there Friday night, but the mini rod class they run there on Friday night is just blown small blocks and naturally aspirated big blocks. So just a Saturday night show for us.
Okay, well, cool. So DeKalb's not that far from your house, is it, from you and your dad's place?
Oh, from my house to Dad's place? No, it's about 4.5 miles.
But how far is the DeKalb Super Pull in Eaton?
I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I asked the question wrong. I get excited sometimes, Tyler.
No big deal. I think that was about 4-6 hours for us, something like that. I don't know. It all runs together once you get behind the wheel of the truck and start going down the road.
Right, absolutely. So if you're just joining Let's Grow Pulling, we got Tyler Slagh on the phone with us right now. He is the son of Bruce Slagh. So let's talk about what it's like to be the son of Bruce Slagh, first of all. Can you talk about what pulling has meant to your family all these years?
Being the son of Bruce Slagh is interesting. Anybody that knows him knows he's kind of his own character. Pulling to my family has been great. I guess it wasn't great for my dad's first marriage. Maybe drew him apart a little bit, but that's just a testament to finding the right person and finding somebody that is interested in it, which I am very fortunate there that my now fiance shares that passion and we get to share pulling together. So that's wonderful. But as far as being Bruce's son and what pulling does for us now, we spend so much time together. It's probably almost unhealthy when it comes to going to the pulls and working on them together and being out in the shop. We get to spend so much time together. I would challenge to find any other father that gets to spend that much time with his 25-year-old son. So
yeah, usually awesome. Your mid-20s, you kind of rebel against the parents a little bit. You're out there trying to figure things out on your own. So kudos to you.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely some of my dad's family that kind of wants to look at it as a waste of money as far as pulling. But yeah. I think that I grow older and they see me continue to spend time with them. And, you know, my fiance's into it, so she gets to spend time with us. And, I mean, it just forces you to get out as a family and you kind of share the same friends and you're just spending time together making memories all the time.
You absolutely you are. Do you remember your first tractor pull with your dad?
No, I don't. I've been going to tractor pulls since, I mean, that's just part of life, since I can even remember remembering things. So.
Well, a couple of reasons I wanted to have you on the show tonight. I know you. I got to know you the last couple of years. And you're right.
Sure.
Lisa's a two-wheel drive truck puller, the first woman ever to win, I think, a session or the finals.
No,
the finals at Louisville.
First one to win the finals.
She grew up in the sport just like you did, so you're absolutely right to find somebody that loves pulling as much as you do. You're very, very fortunate. I want to congratulate you on your win and at Eaton the other night, but also it just seems like I'm like the biggest proponent for diesel trucks. I just think I talked about it a little bit before I got you on the phone. I know you were in the shop, and again, thanks for taking time out of your busy night to come on with us for a little bit.
Oh, no problem.
But been talking to more and more people. There's not many family farms anymore. You're not taking the farm tractor to the fair anymore like you used to. But these diesel trucks, you're just seeing more and more of it grow. And I think that's a whole new set of fans. But I really feel like these last couple of years, Tyler, mini rods, they're making I don't want to say comeback because I don't want to sound like they were ever dead. But it just seems like they're getting more national exposure. I mean, I talked to your dad a little bit about it in Mountain City after the pull on Friday night. He kind of felt the same way, So, excuse me. You had basically the NTPA Grand National, right? But now PPL's added the Silver Series.
He's not done, I promise you, everyone. Okay, we can continue on here. Hey, Tyler, I'm Ryan. It's kind of his assistant here. I don't know what's happening with Jason. He got caught up in the moment, I guess.
Sounds like he's dying over there.
And he has not been drinking tonight, everyone, either.
Maybe I should start.
Maybe he should be.
That's what he just said. He should start drinking. Yeah.
Yeah, he needs a beer. You better get him one.
Yeah, you can get some Crown and Coke, he said. So now they'll get him going because he has a choir concert tonight, too, to get to.
Yeah,
So.
I don't want to be drinking before the choir concert.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So before I tried to die there, Tyler, what I was talking about.
Don't die on me now.
Just don't die on you. It just seems like the mini rods. It just seems like they're gaining more national exposure. I mean, what are your thoughts on it? What are you thinking? Just kind of talk about that thought a little bit for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mini rods, I guess if you're going to pick a class that is kind of the crazy one where they're a little bit more unpredictable, where, they kind of get up on two wheels and go all over the place. And you never want to leave the stands and go to grab a pop or a burger during the mini rods because you never know what you might miss. It's not fun to have crashes and wrecks being the puller, but, I mean, let's be honest, they are kind of fun to watch. And granted, they can happen in all classes, but I think that does a lot for the mini rods there, just that you never know what you're going to see.
Your class, what do you weigh? What's your gross weight when you come? Is it 2,000? Is it 20? Is it 1950? What's the actual weight of your class?
2,050, and that's the weight of the driver, full of fuel.
Okay, and then what's the approximate horsepower on your? Is it 2,500? Is it 3,000 in your class? I don't even know, Tyler. Just ballpark.
Oh man, I wish we could make 3,000.
Okay, I don't even know. So.
The drivetrain probably wouldn't like it, but we make 2,500, a little bit more than 2,500. Depends how badly you want to lean on the motor and hurt it, but you can north of 2,500.
Look at, like we joke about a little bit every now and then. It's a rodeo. It's a rodeo of the tractor pulling world. You weigh 2,000 pounds and you got a 2,500 horsepower machine, and you strap that. You sit down behind that. So let's talk
for sure.
Let's talk about your 2016 season. You and your dad you're campaigning 3 mini rods now, right? On the
yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Which one were you driving when you won Saturday night?
I was driving Have No Mercy, which is the very first chassis that my dad and I built completely from scratch. It was one of the first ones to move way forward, where the roll cage is almost out of the rear fenders, where a conventional mini rod, you sit back and there's almost 2 separate fenders. It was kind of the first one where there's almost a big old fender behind it going over both tires. And then this winter we actually moved my brakes outside of the chassis. So a lot of people thought I was driving my dad's tractor because that's the second chassis we built. My dad's tractor is, and that's where the roll cage is completely ahead of the rear fenders, so the fenders go straight across. There's no pocket for the roll cage or anything, and his brakes are on the outside of the frame rails, basically alongside of the motor. So, I mean, you are just straddling the motor, basically.
Absolutely. Again, if you're just joining us, we have Tyler Slagh on. He's a mini rod driver. Him, and of course, his son, Bruce Slagh, and of course, he got the big win Saturday night down there in Eaton, Ohio. If you have a question for Tyler, shoot it on Facebook or a comment or any different thing like that. Tyler, so how old are you now?
I'm 24. I know I said earlier I was 25, but I kind of got thinking about it. I'm still 24.
That's
so.
okay. Don't
birthday
grow up,
in April. So
don't grow up too fast. Don't grow up too fast. Enjoy it
yeah,
while you
try
can.
Not. I'll try not.
When was the first time you ever actually pulled it?
when I turned 16, I didn't just get to hop behind the wheel. Dad's got a pretty hard and fast rule that, man, you got to slave on these things before he lets you hold the steering wheel and push the throttle forward. The very first thing that I drove was actually his 5-engine unlimited tractor.
Oh, my God.
Very first vehicle I ever drove. Didn't really know what I was doing, just kind of going with what I felt like I should do. But that was awesome. That was quite an experience to have all 5 motors going up. Someday I'd like to drive one again now that I feel like I kind of got a handle on what to feel for as far as, running the brakes and running the throttle and leaving the line. But that was my first pass. It was pretty exciting.
Now, what is you don't work in the shop for your dad full time, do you? Or do you? I forget. You told me once and I forgot.
Yeah, we got a family business. My dad and my uncle co-own it, and we actually build automated filling and capping equipment. So basically, if you go to the store and buy anything that's non-carbonated, whether it be a fuel additive, a mouthwash, a jug of orange juice, or some milk, we build the machine that puts that fluid in the bottle and puts the cap on it. So
Okay.
That's what me and my dad do together at the business full time, and then unfortunately it doesn't pay the bills working on tractors at night, but that's always been the rest of our time.
It doesn't. Now, do you guys build mini rods for other competitors as well, or you just work on your own?
We never have built a chassis for somebody. We've just built our own too. We'll build some other odds and ends like fuel tanks and oil tanks, all the dry sump tanks for mini rods. We've only built a handful of them, but the actual original drawing that, like, even the guys overseas on their mini rods that run the dry sump oil tanks, like, my dad was the first one to draw those up and just pass the prints around. And so, I mean, we build some parts, but as a whole, not a whole lot for other people.
Okay. So when did the third mini rod come along then? Was that last season or was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago.
So
the
15?
third mini rod is the original stud monkey of Mark Stiggy, which was the very first mini rod that I drove. So that one's still just hanging out and still putting passes down. We had it for sale for a while, and nobody wanted to buy it. So it's kind of fun every now and then. People will go out and buy these new chassis, because they don't want to buy, quote-unquote, our old stuff. And to still put it to them every now and then when we get lucky with that third one, it's kind of a good feeling.
Understood. Hey, one of their fans wants to know, what's the reason for moving the seat in the cage forward? Chuck. That's what he wants to know. Chuck is his name. He's one of our groupies that watches the show every Monday.
Gotcha. Right on, Chuck. Basically, we spend all this time finding all this horsepower, and the only way to get that horsepower to the ground, in my opinion, the best way, is to run your hitch all the way up. And in the mini rod class, we get to run a 13-inch hitch. The higher the hitch, the more leverage you got pulling your rear tires into the ground. However, the only drawback is running a full hitch like that puts more leverage on your front end. If your front end gets too high, you're dropping your hitch down. Weighing only 2,050 pounds, you've only got so much movable weight. But one thing we looked at as movable weight is the roll cage, the driver itself. So by actually moving that roll cage way forward as far as possible, we're not only moving the weight of the roll cage, the weight of the seat, your throttle, your steering, your brakes, plus your body itself. So you're actually getting more weight on the front end. And so we'll always run that full 13-inch hitch. I know at Eaton, Jerry and Brett, they both told me that they ended up lowering their hitch down, to try and keep it manageable and keep it under control. And we got to run that hitch all the way up because we feel like we've got enough front end weight, even if the scales are, kind of weighing light and there's not a ton of weight to go around. We can confidently run that thing all the way up because we sit so far forward.
Who did Brett get second or did Thompson get second Saturday night?
Jerry Thompson got second and Brett Berg got third.
Okay, so Brett is that Brett's own mini rod because he has the mod and the mini rod now too, right?
Yep. Brett's got his modified, and then him and Chris Martin campaigned the 2 mini rods.
Okay, very, very good. So, what's it looking like for 2017? What's the Slagh family? What's your, I guess, not goals, or what are your plans for 2017? Where are we going to see you out there on the circuit?
We're planning on running the full Pro Pulling League Silver Series for the mini rods, and we'll hit up a handful of NTPA Grand National and region events also. The goals are definitely to get back at Lucas Oil and defend that title. Shelton's are building a couple of mini rods this winter to add to their fleet. We know they're going to be tough. Of course, awesome. Joe Etter ended up buying a mini.
Yeah, is that the Screaming Bobcat? Who has that now?
Yeah, yep. Joe Etter ended up buying
Okay.
the Bobcat Mini that was ran by the Europeans last year.
Yep. Okay.
So, and hopefully the Europeans build another chassis. I mean, they're building like 12 of them over there, so hopefully they themselves will campaign one next year also. Those guys are always tough. Good competition makes for good fun, that's for sure. So we hope to see them back on the Silver Series as well.
How many hooks do they have for you guys? Have you seen a full schedule yet, or?
I think it's right around a dozen, if memory serves me right, which
Okay.
is about perfect. You get much more than that, and it's hard to get out and hit a handful of other pulls. So it's nice to have a committed schedule where you know you're going to hit the ones, and you've still got a little bit of time where if stuff does go bad, you can take a weekend off, kind of regroup and fix some things. But if everything's together, maybe go hit out another pull that you're not necessarily contracted to go to. So looking forward to it. Looks like a nice schedule.
Yeah, no, I was kind of looking a little bit too. We're going to run the Silver Series with our 4.1 Limited Pro this year, so I'm hoping to spend more time with you at some events this year. I know I will be back in Mountain City together. That's
Looking forward to that. That's a good time
24th.
there.
And then we got to talk to Wago the other day, and they got another band coming in, so a band out of Texas, so that's going to be kind of fun. So
Sweet. Yeah, I was impressed with that last year. Good hospitality there.
yeah, they do a nice job. Chris gets it. You know, he really, and they take that town of 1,000 people and they turn it into 4,000 or 5,000 people for the weekend. It's pretty neat. One question we
it's
have
impressive.
is Amanda Stern, one of our admins from the page, wants to know, when's Lisa going to drive a mini rod?
Yeah, not the first time I've been asked that.
Yeah, imagine that.
Like I said earlier, the old man's got his certain quirks about him, and he's pretty hard and fast that you got to basically slave over him.
Yep.
And she's got her own truck to help on with her dad and working on that. So it's pretty hard for her to do all the other things she does, helping us, and be out here in the shop full time. She definitely helps us, that's for sure. You know, you've seen her at the polls, I'm sure, running around helping us, dragging them around, getting them to the starting line, getting them refueled. And she'll occasionally spend some time out here in the shop too, of course. But it's got to be a pretty full-time commitment for the old man, and unfortunately, it's not my call to make. I would say if I owned him outright, she'd have made a pass on him already.
Yeah, I completely understand it. And you're good for you respecting that. So Doug Borth.
Well, heck, I got no choice.
Yeah, you got no choice, exactly. Well, I was just trying to be nice about it. So Region. So Doug Borth says Region 3 has 3 hooks total for mini rods. When's Tyler going to come up to super modified? When his dad buys another one is what I'm reading some of the comments on the page as we're talking to you. So again,
Sure. As far as a big tractor, when we're going to get another one of those, man, Dad would love it. He wants one. He wants one bad, but of course, if we're going to do that, you know, the cost and time commitment, we're basically looking at getting rid of all of our minis and just dedicating all of our time to that. And he's told me if we do it, I could drive it full time. He would be willing to give up the driver's seat to campaign one of those. That's how much he liked it. But, I mean, I'm no stranger to that. It's just so much work. I mean, hats off to all the guys that run those things. And to do it with just Dad and I as a whole, as the crew, to work on the motors and this and that, I mean, I don't think I'm ready to do that quite yet. But
those 2 hooks for Region 3.
Yeah.
He can qualify for the Enderley then. Okay. No, we're just trying to sort through comments as well, Tyler, while we're talking
Gotcha.
here, so we can ask you some good questions.
I hear you mentioning the Region Enderley.
Yeah.
We got a region license with
Okay.
Dad's tractor last year, and we ran the North Carolina State Fair. And so, of course, we got points for that. The Canadians ended up beating us there the first day, so they are ahead of us. But I think there's 2 or 3 more hooks. I think there's 2 out in Pine Tops and 1, I think, the weekend before Pine Tops for that.
Okay.
So we are planning on hitting that up and maybe seeing if we can get into the Region Enderley if we get lucky enough.
Yeah, he was talking about Region 3.
Yeah,
So,
but that's fine.
yeah.
With you guys living in Michigan, that's Region 2.
Video.
Yeah, so have you seen the Jay Leno video from
Yeah, I have. That
Okay.
was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that was, I mean, for him, that's pretty, I mean, the hammer on that like that's a little bit more than what he's used to.
I just think he just goes.
He just
doesn't care.
goes,
He
yeah.
doesn't care.
I didn't see the box moving up very good, but
No.
that's good for pulling though, because that's going to be on TV and
Yeah. the
really,
small
really neat
rod
like
would
that. What?
Yeah, I was glad to see him make kind of a radical pass. It's not like he just kind of went out there, laid the thing wide open, and down to the other end. You know, it was cool to see him whomp on it, get the front end up, and I think maybe he got a little gun shy and was like, oh, holy crap,
Yeah.
this thing's really raring up, and then kind of got back into it. So
Yeah, Robbie Fagundes just said ouch, because he's the one who sent us the video. for the post because they had all their TV crews in front of Robbie, but Robbie stood behind him, and he definitely got that video there. So that was a lot of fun. Where do you see? Is there a lot of mini rod pulling in Europe right now, Tyler, or is it more dominant in the United States, or is it equal amount of numbers? What do you see?
I don't know. I watched some videos over there from Europe, and mini rods seem pretty big. One thing that's cool over there is they're not really restricted to an automotive engine, so you'll see a little bit more variety as far as what guys are running for power plants, and I think that makes for a really good show.
Yeah.
As far as how many hooks there is, I don't really know, but I know they're big over there. You've got like Barry Bohr, and they're pumping out like 12 chassis, and a lot of them are coming over to the States here for guys, so that's kind of a testament to how cool it is that the rules are very similar over there to what they are here, to where they can take what they learn here and learn from over there, build a chassis that is so good and so competitive to where other guys in the States are like, yes, please, build me one and send it across the pond so that I can run it here.
Absolutely. I think I talked to those guys up at Toma last year on Thursday night, if I remember correctly, but talked to a lot of people up there. And then I took off for Mountain City then Friday morning, but some really, really nice guys. So what do you know? What is the history of the mini rod class? Or your dad, I got two questions. How did your dad start? What did your dad start with? Like, what's caused all that?
My dad started pulling antique tractor way back in the day with an 8N Ford, and then got into an L case. And then actually he ran a mini rod for a while. I think it was like 89 to maybe mid to early 90s on the Grand National level, back when you didn't need roll cages or anything on them. And so from there he went to a 2-engine, then a 3-engine, then a 4-engine, 5-engine, and then we stepped back down, in a sense, I guess, motor-wise, to the mini rod class. So he's definitely got some roots in the mini rod class for sure.
One of the questions Andy Corson has for you, he says, any reason why you prefer PPL over NTPA? It seems like lots of driving away from Michigan.
Well, originally, when we were running the Grand National NTPA circuit, there was like 20-some hooks on that for us to hit them all. And as I'm getting older, I'm getting more responsibilities at work, and so it's getting harder and harder for me to get away that much, that often throughout the summer. But also over at PPL, we've experienced a real professional atmosphere that we enjoy. The pay is a little bit better, especially if we can get that class bumped up to that Champions Tour. That would be really awesome, to where you can get that show-up money per vehicle and run for some good money. Not that we're in it for the money, obviously, or we'd all just quit tomorrow. But it definitely helps out for sure.
No, it definitely helps pay the bills a little bit. I appreciate that, and that's the one thing. And I want the fans to understand that just because something's Champions Tour or Grand National or state level or region or silver, a lot of times people don't run that big level just because of what Tyler just said. It's a time commitment. And like Tyler just said, none of us are making any money with these pulling vehicles. Actually, we're working harder so we can afford our pulling vehicles. And
you're exactly right.
That's how it is in my life. And I had to work my butt off so I can keep pulling. But that's all part of it too. I mean, it's some people don't think I work very hard, Tyler, but I do bust my butt every day. I get picked on all the time. Yeah. Sales is work.
I bet.
Sales is work. I don't know why. I do a lot of typing, a lot of talking. That's my gift. Yeah. I'm good at yakking.
That's right. You got to take what you excel at and apply it.
Yeah, exactly. So back to, do you know much history of the mini rod class, or does your dad know much, or kind of how it got started?
I really don't. I know you walk through like the museum there at Bowling Green, and you can see some of the older ones where guys would strap one, sometimes two small block Chevys, basically crank to crank, and set basically a lawn chair behind them and weld some frame rails around it. But other than that, I don't know a whole lot on the history of the class.
You gotta love the motorhead, if you will. Give them a motor and they'll build something to go out and break it. Absolutely.
For sure. It's a way of life, right?
Yep. All right. So when are we going to see the Slaghs back out on the pulling circuit now? I mean, are we done with indoor pulling for a while, or do you guys have some more indoor pulls? What's the plan?
No, we're done with indoor pulling. Unfortunately, they don't let me go to Cloverdale for some reason. At least they haven't. So Eaton's our only indoor pull. Okay. And no minis at the farm show. I wish they would be there. But.
So I started promoting the show about 4 o'clock today, or 4:30. And I put, I was having you on the show tonight. And the first person commented, "We need minis at Louisville." And
yes,
they'd be awesome. I mean, it is
the way the board's changed. You never know.
The light super stocks, for the tractor side, and the mini rods are the most exciting classes to watch. When you look at the horsepower versus the weight and the transfer, and and like Tyler said, you don't want to go for a wild ride. Like, Tyler, aren't you on that one Wild Wreck video? Aren't you, famous for that?
Yeah, the fire.
Oh, yeah, I've been on there a couple times.
You've been on there a couple times?
I guess if you're going to call it famous videos, when I came unhooked from the sled down at Raleigh, North Carolina a couple years back, and kind of endoed the tractor and almost brought the roll cage over the front end. But, yeah, that was an interesting ride. Once again, not too fun, but it makes for good videos, gets the class some exposure, so it's all good in the end.
Yeah, way to be a team player, Tyler. Way to be a team player.
Yeah, I try.
Rob Brute wants to know, what's the cubic inch limit to the minis and a blower size?
Blower size is 1471 high helix. We can only run 45% overdrive. Motor size, I believe, is 575.
That's correct.
I guess that might not be correct, but I think it's something around there.
That's all right. And your fiance just said they pull PPL so we can have our toys at the same place at the same time. Ha.
Yeah, that's right.
Well
that's
said.
Right. I better get that in there too. The
Yeah.
schedule's actually quite favorable for us this year. I can't believe I left that out. Where the two-wheelers and the minis get to run. So really looking forward to that. It's probably the best schedule with the most overlap we've ever had. So counting our blessings there for sure.
Well played, Tyler. I'm proud of you, buddy. This is live, so I can't go back and edit this for you. I apologize. So I would.
No problem.
I would. I mean, because you're my friend, I'd help you out. So that's what we do. Let me think here. So we talked about Jay Leno. Talked about history of mini rods. The one thing before I let you go. I think you understand it already, and I know some people do, but I think that we need to be better entertainers as pullers. I think promoters need to do a better job of it, and I think pullers need to do a better job of it. Now, you and your dad are always super friendly. I mean, I've been to your guys' trailer. I remember Hillsborough last year, and you guys were wrenching on them and warming them up and different things like that, and your dad was talking to me just like nothing was going on, and I think that's a huge part of it. And I think that's one thing that people don't realize, that the pits are open at most polls we go to. Because that was one of the I put a comment out on Facebook last night. Like, I challenge every promoter and every puller in 2017 to take it to the next level. And the biggest thing I saw was have the pits be open before and after the poll. And God, I don't know where the pits aren't open, Tyler. I mean, I think they're open everywhere.
It's extremely rare where you even see a promoter trying to charge extra for a pit pass. That almost never happens. And most of the pullers do have awesome personalities. Like, if you just get up to them and talk to them, I mean, so many of them are friendly and looking forward to, talk about the ride, what they got going on, throw the kid up there in the seat for a good photo op. And I think that's one thing that pulling definitely has got going for it, for sure, over other motorsports.
No, that's right. And then another thing they talked about was music. They talked about the time in between pulls. We got to get the track prepped again. What could we do as a promoter to step that up a little bit? And I know people talked about music a little bit. What are some of the best entertaining things you've seen at a pull, Tyler? Like, that a promoter has done to keep the fans entertained, that you maybe don't see somewhere else, that we could share with everybody?
I mean, even just music, something that's going on. I know they did a great job at that in Hillsborough.
Yep.
We've pulled over in Europe in Ahoy before.
Oh, that looks so wild.
The 5-engine tractors, yeah, and they do an awesome job with entertainment. I mean, they're shutting the lights off. They got kind of I guess I'm going to call it a laser show in the beginning, and they're shooting off fireworks, and they're getting you amped up and pumped up. It's kind of like if you go to an indoor monster truck show, they're just really taking advantage of all the senses, sight, sound, constantly, just to try and keep the fans, involved and entertained and interacting. So I think that definitely goes a long way, because, I mean, we're there to compete, but they're there to be entertained. So at all times, even in between tractors, if they can keep entertained, I mean, even if it comes to shooting out T-shirts out of a gun, I mean, it keeps the kids involved and entertained. They're not just sitting there falling asleep. So any of the small little things like that really add up, I think.
No, I agree 100%. I think you're spot on. I just I want to hear it from. I want the fans to hear it from pullers. I want the promoters to hear it from pullers. That we understand that the more fans in the stands, the more the promoters can pay, and then hopefully we get some real sponsorship dollars in the sport that can trickle down and help the pullers out as well. That's my goal. That's why I work so hard doing all this with the promotion, different things like that, trying to expose pulling. I got a text message from Kevin Dick. Said his uncle. His uncle won the first Grand National Mini Points in 1974. So the mini rods have been almost around since the beginning of it. Because how old's the NTPA now?
69 is when they formed.
69, so they're coming up on 50 years then too. So yeah, so they're pretty early in on it. So
That's impressive.
yeah, that is cool. So I got to ask you this: how did you get Lisa Tatum? She's smoking hot. What do you got going on? You paying her? What's the deal, Tyler?
I don't know. I just got lucky with that one. I don't know how that worked out. So.
Do you have any good stories that we could, like, anything to embarrass Lisa a little bit, or not? I don't want to get you unengaged, but I'd like to have you maybe if she sends you
to embarrass Lisa a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Nothing bad.
Okay. One thing I like to poke fun of her at, and I mean I do it too. I especially shouldn't bring this up after eating because I was fist pumping like crazy. But I love it when I see her put down a good pass, and she doesn't even have to have just taken first or anything, but if she just laid down a good solid pass to where, man, she set that truck up right, her and her dad did, and it just laid it out there and made an awesome run. Always in the cab of her truck, I tell her it looks like she's fist fighting ghosts because she's got both fists going like crazy and all 360 degrees around her. Like she's fist fighting ghosts, so that always makes me laugh. And I kind of tease her about that. But
no, and I like that. I like that.
I wasn't any different.
No, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. That's the personality of the sport. You're not being cocky. You're just happy because you know how hard we work on these things. You know what I mean? To get out there and put on a show for the fans. When you were about 15 feet from the sand Saturday night in at Eaton, Ohio, man, the people were standing up and cheering, and you went flying into that sand. It was awesome. So you entertained well Saturday night. How much sand got into the motor? Do you know yet, or how bad was it?
Yeah, well, yesterday we tore the whole tractor apart, got it down to the frame rails and tires, basically. If you watch the video, I actually, while wide open, I reach over and I hit the kill switch while holding it wide open, which we had talked about. If I'm ever about to hit the sand pile, don't sit there and run the motor, with the blower belt going around, pound it into the sand. So I was fortunate enough to be quick on it and get the thing shut down before I got into the sand. We got the tractor up on the chassis sawhorses now, and the wheelie bars were bent, but fortunately it was pretty soft sand there, so the whole front of it's not damaged or anything. So that motor's going to get tore apart anyway, and we'll bring it back to DMP where we'll work there with Darren Mayer, try and find some more horsepower for next season.
Awesome. So, hey, 14,000 people listened to you talk to us tonight, so we really appreciate it. And somebody from New Zealand, Von Coy, just said he's from New Zealand, so that's pretty cool.
That's exciting. How about that?
The Netherlands are on
and the Netherlands are on board, too. So I try to watch the comments as much as I can, Tyler, but I also want to give you the courtesy of actually knowing what I'm saying when I talk to you, so without coughing my brains out. Tyler, you're a good dude.
Well,
you're great for the sport. I just really, really enjoy having you around. Lisa's great. Your dad's great. You guys get it. I hope someday maybe you can live that dream again of the modified or the old, the unlimited, whatever you guys decide to do. But I'm glad that you said you have mucho respect for anybody, these 4 engines, 5, 6 engine guys, because it's a crazy amount of money.
For sure.
Yeah. So. Okay,
thanks
Rob.
for all you do for the sport on getting it spread around and putting exposure to that. I mean, 14,000 people, that's a pat on the back to you, I would think.
Yeah,
that's
well,
impressive.
But you're well known as well, Tyler, and having big name guests on the show helps out a lot too. And that's one thing I want to do is I want to show, we all try to do that, like the Polling Radio Network, everybody that's doing these kind of things. We want to show the human side of it. How often do you actually get to talk to the 14,000 people for 30 minutes? You know what I mean? About polling? Never. And that's where I'd like to, that's why I'm glad you came on and different things like that. Robbie Fagundes wants to say, why only one tractor? Did you only have one Mini at Eaton, or did you have all 3 of them?
Yes, we only had one Mini at Eaton.
Okay.
We've been working on a lot of different stuff this winter as far as motor-wise. So we actually scrapped together parts, a little bit from this tractor, a little bit from that tractor, robbed the fuel system off of this one, stole the blower off of this one, grabbed this block, set ahead, and literally put that motor together just to go down to Eaton and make one pass, because that's kind of all the parts we got at our disposal right now.
Well, it was a heck of a pass.
As crazy as that sounds.
So, yeah. So, Rob Brute, all 3 tractors are going to be out this year, correct? I want to let the fans know.
That is correct.
Okay.
Good Lord willing that everything goes together good. That's what we're planning on.
Awesome. Well, hey, I got to head to a choir concert, so I'm going to let you go. I'm going to be a good dad, or my wife's going to beat me up. My son said I don't have to go because they have to dance tonight, and he said they suck anyway, but I told him I'm coming because I love him. So,
There you go. That's the right thing to say.
Thank you for all that you do for pulling. Please tell your dad hi, tell Lisa hi, and we'll see you out in the Silver Series this summer.
I will do. Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, be good.
Yep, bye.
So as Tyler Slagh, everybody, obviously, he's Bruce Slagh's son. They got the 3 mini rods, Ryan. Just a great family of pulling. And what's been fun about talking to all these pullers on the show, I've learned a lot about these guys that I didn't know about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something that the sport has definitely been missing. We don't know the personal side of things like other motorsports where they're getting interviewed week by week. And
right.
It's like NASCAR. They have their weekly programs.
I feel like I know John Force. A little bit, or some of the NASCAR
or maybe
guys,
like Jimmy Johnson,
or
because Kyle Busch, or any of those guys, Jeff Gordon.
Whether you like it or not, you find out about their social lives on the internet and different things like that. And I'm not saying we want to get that far, but the exposure's there. And
the only way you would probably know that if anyone's listening is if you do go into the pits and actually start talking to them. But then you're only limited to a couple minutes because you don't want to. If they're either working on their vehicle or, they're only, they'll talk for as long as they can. Mm-hmm. But, to actually get a 30-minute interview with these drivers is something that you're not going to get a chance to very often.
So, I got to get going. But what I want you to talk about with the fans the rest of the night is I want to talk about entertaining. I want to see people comment on what their ideas are to entertain, what they've seen over the years. Because we got a lot of fans on here. If we got New Zealand watching and Netherlands watching, I want to know what they do for fun. And I think the Europeans, when he talked about Ahoy, I've seen it because Rudy Lindhorst has talked about that with me. They take it to the next level with fireworks and cheerleaders and the party. And pulling is a party. And you can have the party and you can have the family. You can do it all. I've seen it all. Bowling Green, what makes Bowling Green is the fans, the campers, the fun. Toma, getting out in the pits afterwards and stuff like that. Let's go watch a good 3-hour show.
It's like a big family reunion.
Correct.
Because you have the same seats every year. So you get a chance to see these people. It's probably the only time of year you get to see them and get to see them for a whole week or a weekend or depending on how long the event goes. And that's what makes it so special for these bigger events.
But if you get a chance, go to my personal Facebook page. I got some comments on there. I put a post on Beer Money last night. Pull Off.
There's a great if you haven't got a chance to read that conversation
on Pull-Off,
there's a lot of great back and forth conversation.
Yep.
And, I think next week we could definitely get more into it because just the last 15 minutes is not even enough.
No, but that's what you touch on a little bit. But I want to get people thinking about it a little bit. Jay Steiger, Missouri Invitational Pull.
That's coming up in the weekend after Motorsports Mayhem, I believe. Yep.
He did that bracket thing last year.
Yes.
That's where I got the bracket idea for October Redneck Rally.
He's doing diesel trucks this year.
Because I saw Jason Hill was going down there. He's got little hero cards of the pullers. They did the smoke machines down there, like we talked about. Because we talked about with Badger State about getting a video board, the lasers, just that. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes we take it for granted. The people that are really involved in the sport day to day, that we're just going to go out, we're going to put on a good show. But I'm telling you, and Brandon will tell you too, our Facebook social wizard guy, Brandon Johnson, you can have a 350-foot pass on the Remedy. The tires just barely touching the front ground like they're supposed to, and that'll get a lot of views. But if you get something unique, like a school bus pulling or a cement truck, and I know it sounds stupid, but that's what they're gonna remember more than anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because that relates to a lot more people, and they know they're seeing a school bus, which they see every day, or a cement truck.
But there's some comments on there on pulloff.com about having this one organization, and there's pros and cons for it.
Yes. At the national level.
At the national level, you need
a national
state level is still where it's at. Yes. There's way more state level super farms and these levels than there is anything else.
Their push for that is to actually have a true national champion.
Yep.
Not for one organization.
Right. Because you really because Bowling Green calls the National Tractor Pulling Championships, but I love Bowling Green, but that's for the NTPA, and that's why I think Louisville is the closest thing to it. But I felt, I'm not on the selection committee, and I'm not going to hammer them because they picked us to be there. You know what I mean? And I know we got a good running tractor.
And for your class alone, it was all champions.
Yeah, they did take points champions out there. But you can never judge your pulling vehicle on one pass. We all know that. It's a season over that. But, just like Tyler said, that was cool. I'm glad that Andy Corson asked that. Why don't they run the grant? We just don't have time for 20, 25 hooks. You know what I mean? Because they got a business to run. I mean, I know it's a very successful business. If you got 3 mini rods, you got a successful business.
Yeah.
So
it's
all part of the deal.
Keeping 3 mini rods going for a whole season. Yep. 9 to 12, or in that.
They work all day.
Yeah.
And then on for the real job, and then they work all night on those mini rods, just like every puller does. That's why you see a lot of names, Midnight Mistress, and you see up all night, sleep all day,
and driving
things like
maybe
that.
10, 12 hours to a pull, depending on which way they're going. Especially probably to Mountain City.
Yep.
For them, it's a little bit
That's
of a
a
haul.
hike.
So
that's a hike.
So
And especially
anyway,
when they come over to Hillsboro, that's, because they have to, I don't know if they go across the lake, but.
I know some of the guys last year jumped on the ferry to come across.
Which
some of the
is
diesel
very
truck
expensive,
guys,
so.
but they'd rather do that than fight Chicago. They said. But anyway, I'm going to get going. Head to the choir concert. Let's get the fans engaged a little bit. Come on, if you're listening to the show right now, let us know about the entertainment factor.
Yeah, we'll
a little
go
bit.
for the next 15 minutes here.
And then I'll see you next Monday night.
Yes.
And we're going to get Dennis Fry's going to try to come over. He'll be our in-studio guest at Fair Valley Performance.
He's very fun.
I want to plug Motorsports Mayhem one more time.
Yes.
May 13th. It's a really good event for our community. And but I don't want to be late. So thanks everybody for watching. I don't want to get in trouble.
The late parent that comes
I do not want to be the late parent with the cell phone on listening to the show. So I'll talk to you later, bud. Thanks for all you do.
Don't die on the way over. You're
I'm not
coughing. So.
If somebody said I got to quit drinking Monster.
Yeah. That's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, I know.
So.
I don't need it at all.
Yeah, I think you got plenty of energy going on over there.
So, but if you need to write anything down, there you go.
Sounds good. So, let's see what we got going on here. So, Greg Parker says, "Have a good night."
Thanks, Greg.
So,
see you guys.
See you guys. So, what did you guys think of Tyler Slagh? Any questions about? We can pass along to him, and of course, like what Jason said, getting the fans involved in the sport of truck and tractor pulling is definitely going to be the key for getting pulling up to the next level. Like we were talking about earlier, if you haven't got a chance to read the thread on pulloff.com, it's a great read. It's actually not that banter back and forth, bashing organizations back and forth as well. It's actually a great conversation of where people want to see the sport of truck and tractor pulling going. Jeff, yes, about time that he left. Not too often that it's this quiet in the Schultz household, so we'll take advantage of it as well. Well, I'll go with my opinion. After reading the pull-off and a lifelong polling fan, on the national level, I do have to agree that not taking away or disbanding, NTPA or PPL, but what my thought is actually looking at what the NFL did back in the 60s when the AFL, they eventually merged, but actually having an NTPA versus PPL type scenario where you could have tractors that can more can run that PPL circuit. Now this would, of course, meaning that they would actually have to get together on rules, which is also another topic on its own end. But if you had a certain set of classes, so you had the NTPA schedule, and at the end of the year, you have a true Enderley pull-off, or you could use, maybe rotate between the Enderley pull-off and the PPL Nationals down in Wheatland as the site, where then you could actually have the top 5, we'll say, from the point on the NTPA side of things and the top 5 from the PPL side of things come together at the end of the season and actually crown a true champion, of course. And then our outlaw listeners out there and watchers, where does that put you? We could definitely put you into the mix as well as the top 5. But again, it really comes down to the rules set of things. Yeah, so Jeff brings up a good point with the music, and Jason kind of mentioned about a video board and with the Badger State circuit, and that's something that I brought up to the board and back in February, and I've been looking into what we kind of talked about at the board meeting on the Badger State side of things is incorporating a video board, but with that video board you have a great introduction to the tractors or the trucks and the pullers. So you have a description of where they're from, what they do for a living. You could have a set song. Maybe they have their favorite song that when they're coming onto the track that's being played. So that's going to help the announcers out as well. The fans are going to see that. They're going to see a face. They'll be able to see, maybe a shot of the tractor. And of course, what my big pitch with the video boards, I don't think that the national, like with NTPA or the Outlaws that are using the video boards, is actually having graphics, to get that crowd involved. So if you're at a baseball, basketball, football game, when there's a big play, or maybe there is a wreck, or some type of engine failure, some type of failure of that sort, you have a graphic that is going to go on that video board and really, gets that fan involved. And then, of course, with that replay, so whether that that graphics could be made, there's companies out there that can get those graphics made that will work with you. Also, whether if you're at look at baseball, I really consider baseball the closest thing because there's a lot of time in between innings. There could be a lot of time in between pitches, and they use those graphics, whether it be the hats that move around and then you decide which hat it's on with the baseball underneath, whether it be looking at Badger games, they have races with the student section letters, and then of course so if you have sections at an event, or maybe you have the brands of the tractors or trucks, and then so get them involved there, so in between classes that way. And I just there's so much out there, and of course there's an investment factor to that as well, and of course that would be on I think the national level could really improve on that. Of course, when you have two tracks running, that's where it gets sticky. I think this really works well with a one-track situation where you can really focus on that tractor, and you'd almost have to have two big screens for the two-track events, like your Toma, Bowling Green, Hillsboro, some of the other major ones down in Galat Motorsports Park now. Again, that's a big investment for these polling organizations. Yes, I'm sure, Jeff, you were jamming out with your polling truck, but let's hear from. I know we had some West Coast listeners as well. They I know incorporate a lot of monster trucks at their events. Yeah, one track definitely has more downtime, so that's where with Badger Say, that's where we do have a couple of two-track situations with the Macville Nationals, but the majority of our polls are on a one-track situation, obviously with county fairs and just local events, and one, it's definitely going to help the announcers out, and where if visual really helps the audience stay involved. Of course, then you can have a scoreboard or a leaderboard where you can put up that top 5 polls, so you can keep on flashing back and forth between that. Beer, yes, races like the Brewers have the sausage races, and I know a lot of the MLB teams have copied that idea. Nationals have the racing of the presidents, but yeah, that'd be definitely something that could be. We could get mascots for each of the manufacturers of so you have John Deere, International, Allis-Chalmers, Minneapolis Moline, Oliver, and then you could have the trucks with Dodge, Chevy, Ford. As well, and get those dressed up, and there's a great option right there for helping just make that. Yeah, Gordyville did a nice job this year with I believe Heartland Displays, and then of course they had ISP bring down their distance boards as well. And I know most of the state and regional levels they have that distance board, which is nice, but sometimes it's in a weird spot, and if with the video boards that can be angled so well, and it can rotate 360 degrees, and of course again being able to do instant replays and being able to just get different type of graphics and different types of interactions with fans, and I think that instead of just having to hear an announcer talk, they can get videos from our sponsors. I know one of the bigger things that Louisville had going for many years was the Budweiser ads that they would play on the what was used to be the Pepsi Vision, and now is just the center big board, and with the frogs, that was always very popular. And I think from start to finish, if you coordinate with if you do have an organization that is lucky enough to get a video board, or even just start with music, and have that introduction, and have maybe possibly have driver introductions at the beginning of your events, and then they can throw out a frisbee or a t-shirt or anything like that. Just to get fans interactive at the beginning. If that driver wins, and you get a picture with them at the end of the class in the winner's circle, like they used to do in Toma. They used to throw out the frisbees, and all the kids would go running for the frisbees, and then hopefully you get your favorite driver. And hey, Christina, thanks for tuning in, and of course you'll be able to. You missed it. We had Tyler Slagh on earlier. He's a part of the Slagh Motorsports in Michigan, campaigning 3 mini rods on this PPL Silver Series this year, and as they said, they'll be hitting up some of the Grand National events, scheduling permitting, as well as regional and local events along with them. Yeah, that's a great idea, Michael. Yeah, definitely Polar Profiles, I think, is a great way to start. Organizations that get your pullers to put down their occupation, how many times, if they're multiple points champions in your club, if they which classes that they used to pull in, as much information as you can get from them, so you can talk about them at the beginning, right as they're coming onto the track. And I think that's key, is staying with the puller on these one pull tracks and giving as much information, and if you can make that a nice entrance for them. And it all depends on how I believe the fair who rents the for the Jefferson County Fair, I believe those video boards are with the stage company, and and then they have the crew that I could be wrong, but I think that the video boards are either with the stage rental at the Jefferson County Fair. So if those still listening, that aren't living in Wisconsin or follow the Badger State Circuit, Jefferson, Wisconsin, Jefferson County Fair, they have a concert series later in the week. The Badger State Tractor Pullers kick off the county fair, and they actually have a couple of video boards set up. They have one along the track, and they actually have one facing the fairgrounds. It's the fair where people are walking around enjoying the carnival, and that way, so they could actually be watching the pull out in the carnival area. So it's kind of a unique setup for a county fair to have that, and to have a great video board set up. Now they're more music oriented, so they don't have the best camera angles, but it's still a great addition, and they do, I believe, do a replay, but I'm not 100% sure, which definitely makes Jefferson on a Wednesday night, packed crowd. I think they start filling the stands there around 5 o'clock on a Wednesday night, and then they're full right before pull time, and there's a good 5, 6, 7,000 people on a Wednesday night watching a Badger State Tractor pull. So a really great atmosphere for one of the few Wednesday night pulls that we hit on the circuit. So of course, just keep on messaging Jason with any thoughts that you have, and we'll definitely be discussing this topic as the spring and then as it leads into the summer season as well. Very important. I mean, I think we're in a great time for pulling, a transition stage, as you might call it, and which direction is this sport going to go? And there's a lot of great ideas out there, and there's so much, I think, experimenting on what's going to work and what's not going to work that can be done. And of course, just keep messaging us here at the Beer Money Polling Team, and Jason will take those ideas. We'll be talking about this more next week as well. If you haven't, again, check out the pull-off message board. They have a great thread, a lot of great ideas. If you have a great idea, go and comment on there, and just bounce ideas back and forth. And I know a lot of the national organizations, their presidents and board members really look over that and really take account to what that, and I know Miles Beyond 300 with Miles Krieger. He has some great writings on this and what his thoughts are about the future of the sport, truck and tractor pulling. So with that, thanks for tuning in. Want to thank Tyler Slagh for taking time tonight for talking about the upcoming season, their last year's points championship on the PPL Silver Series. So want to thank him. Want to thank all you guys again for tuning in, making it for another great show. And of course, we'll see you next week right here on the Beer Money Pulling Team. For Jason Schultz, I'm Ryan Zolik saying have a great rest of your evening.